Hello students, just want to support you with extra way to learn vocabulary words. So the first word we have here is in common. In common is something that we share, something in similar. Like for example, you have two eyes and I have two eyes. So we share something in common. Population. Population is the number of people who live in a place. So let's say Vietnam has about 92 million. So the population of Vietnam is 92 million. Logic. Logic means thinking. Everything we do involves logic. Have things in order. Have things in order means put things in a way that is organized, that is neat, not clutter. So when you go to a store, you see all the fruit in one section, all the vegetables in one section, all the meat in one section. So stores often have things in order. The same thing at your house. You put the dishes together in one cabinet. You put the food in the refrigerator. So you often have things in order at your house. Punctual. Punctual means being on time. Exceptions. Exception means it can be excellent or different from the norm or different from group. So let's say there are 5 students. One student is wearing a jacket. The other 4 do not have on jackets. So the students who is wearing the jacket is the exception from the group. Message. Message means information or news. You send a message to your classmate. You watch TV to get message about an event that is happening around the world. To weigh means to measure how something is. For example, you want to weigh the luggage. You go to the grocery store and you want to weigh the fruit. You want to weigh the vegetable. Recognize means be able to tell or to know. If you see John and John is your friend, you immediately recognize who John is. Recognition. If you do a good job at work, your boss say, "Good job, great job." That is a recognition because recognition is rewards. And recognition can also means be able to identify something before. Jaw. Your jaw is the bottom part below the nose. The jaw holds the teeth together. Cheekbones. Cheekbones are the bones below the eyes. Everyone has 2 cheekbones. Confident. Confident means have faith in oneself. If you love who you are, if you know who you are confident. A will. A will means a strength of the mind. When you have a will, you have a strong mind that you want to do something. I have a will to finish my degree. So I have something that I really want to do, a will. So something that a person wants to do. Creative. Creative comes from the word create. So when you are creative, you use logic. You use your intelligence to do something. Let's say you stay home and you only have rice and carrot. Now, instead of cooking rice and eat it with carrot, you can make rice and carrots into a cake. Then you are creative. Reliable. Reliable means somebody or something you can trust. If you tell your friends to come and help you, then the friend come to help you, that person is reliable. And the verb for reliable is to rely. Next is generous. Generous means you willing to share something. You can be generous with your money. You can be generous with your time. You can be generous with your love. Fragile. Fragile means something that is easily broken, something that is very delicate, something that is not strong. Telephones are fragile because they can break easily. People's emotions are fragile. Glasses are fragile. Prefer. Prefer means something that you like. I prefer to eat fruit. I prefer to eat vegetable. So prefer means to like. Characterize. To characterize means to describe something. John is smart. John is short. John has good humor. So I am characterizing John. So let's see if you can use the words in context. So Gia and T share some things in common because they both are students. The population of the United States is about 350 million people. Kenneth and Karina use logic to do their assignments every day. Alex and Yang prefer or like to have things in order. Celia and Stalin like or prefer to be punctual every day for work. Exceptions. With the exceptions of Joanne and Josenia, everyone dresses very informal for class. Dat and Fact sent Ty a message last week. Elsa and Joalis decided to weigh their meat at the market. Did you recognize him? Asked Joanna, who could not recognize the men. Rocio gets a recognition from the teacher for being a good student. Norma's jaw was hurt because she fell on the floor. T's cheekbones are high, which can mean that she is intelligent. Ty, Arandina, Anna, and Sophoni are confident because they know who they are. Yamusa has a will to do good in life. Creative. Karimatu and Joanna are very creative because they often use logic for everything. Reliable. Fact, Nga, and Chang are reliable people because they can be trusted. Generous. Muhammad is a generous person because he likes to share his food with everyone. Fragile. The box is fragile, so please do not drop it, say Ngung. Prefer. Nyung and Duct prefer to study English instead of Chinese. To characterize. Hong wants to characterize her daughter as a sweet and loving person. So again, these are the words that we have learned, and I hope you can review them. So say together: in common, population, logic, punctual, have things in order, exceptions, message, to wave, recognize, recognition, jaw, cheekbones, confident, a will, creative or creative, reliable, generous, fragile, prefer, to characterize. Now, your turn. So let's see if you can use these words in common, population, logic, have things in order, punctual, exceptions, message, to wave, recognize, recognition, jaw, cheekbones, confident, a will, creative, reliable, generous, fragile, prefer, and to characterize. See if you can put them in these words, okay? So the sentences are not in order. So I want you to see if you can use the words here and put them in complete sentences. The mother refused to blame her son as a bad student. The key word is she doesn't want to say that her son is a bad student. So which word can go in here? Joanne and Jasenia often because they like to be neat. The key word here is to be neat. When you are neat, you are clean, you are not messy. The workers were not blamed because they were 10 minutes there were 10 minutes before. Okay, so the workers were not blamed. Celia and T were the blank because they received perfect score on their exam. Remember, perfect score. The key word here is perfect score. The customers decided their fruit at the market. So customers at the market. So what do customers do at the market with their fruit? Jang, yeah, and fact, because they love who they are. The key word is they love who they are. That, Thai, or blank, students, because their teacher can trust them. I can trust you. I can depend on you. I believe in you. Babaka and Gia share similar things, such as they both like fruit. Here, two people. Both people like fruit. Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates are blank because they are artistic and clever. The key words are artistic and clever. When you are clever, you can use think outside the box and be able to do many things with limitation. Karina, Maria, and Anna are blank because they like to share. So which vocabulary words can you put on the lines for these sentences to make sense? So you can pause for like 2 minutes and trying to work them out. Now, okay? So for the first sentence, the mother refused to characterize. So if you say characterize for the first sentence, then you are correct. Characterize. Okay? So if you have characterize, then you are good. So this sentence is characterize. Next sentence. Joanne and Jasenia often have things in order because they like to be neat. Have things in order. The workers were not punctual because they were 10 minutes late. Punctual. Celia and T were the exceptions because they received perfect score on their exam. The customer decided to waive their fruit at the market. Jang, Nga, and Fact were confident because they love who they are. Dat and Tai are blank because the teacher can trust them. So the sentence here is reliable. Babacar and Gia share similar things in common. Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates are creative. Karina, Maria, and Anna are blank because they like to share, are generous. So inbox me or comment and tell me how many you have correct. Now, these are the news words that we have for this week. So the word here is called imagine. Imagine means to think. So when you think about something, that is imagine, okay? You're trying to look inside of your head. You're trying to see what's going on. That's imagine. So you might look at the sky and you thought you saw a bird, but it was actually an airplane. So you imagine, okay? Can you imagine life without the internet? So imagine. To imagine is the infinitive verb. They do not want to imagine life without the internet. Imagination. Imagination is a noun. It's the act of thinking. The root word for imagination is to imagine. So, for example, he had a good imagination about his life. Instead is an adjective. It means optional. It means alternative or a second choice. Instead of going to sleep, Joanna decided to study. So she had two options, study or sleep. So she decided to study instead of sleeping. Poison. Poison can be a verb or poison can be a noun. So when it's a noun, it's a substance that can hurt or kill people, plants, or animals. So when it's a verb, it means something causing injury or harm to people. Do not drink insecticides because they have poison in them. They wanted to poison him. Disease. Disease is a noun. It means an illness or a sickness. I am sorry to say this, but coronavirus is a disease. Advantage. Advantage is a noun. Advantage is anything that can help people or animal to do better. So I need a cell phone. My cell phone is an advantage for me to communicate with people. Learning English can have a good advantage for getting a better job. Baked. Baked is the past tense or the past participle of bake. This is another form or another way of cooking. Na baked cookies for her son Alexander. Baked. Invented. Invented is a past tense verb of invent or the past participle of invent. Invented means to make or to create something. Scientists have not invented or created a vaccine for coronavirus. Invented. To invent. To invent is the infinitive verb of invent. To make or to create something new. Chang decided to invent a new way to study English. I apologize. To study English, not to clean. Invention is a noun. It means the act of creating or making something new. The root word for invention is to invent. Joanna came up with a new invention to help people study English better. Invention. Dish. Dish can be a noun or a verb. When it's a noun, it means a plate, a container, or a bowl to hold something like food. When it's a verb, it means that you decide you have something negative about a person or a thing. So let's say if you don't want the old car, you decide to dish the old car. So dish. Please clean the dish, say Norma. Joales and Celia decided to dish the man's bad attitude. So these are the words that we are learning this week. So I hope you can study them and use them in your everyday life. If you don't use them, you will forget these words. So continue to use these words in practical ways. Repeat after me. Imagine, to imagine, imagination, instead, poison, advantage, bait, to invented, invented, to invent, invention, dish. Now, let's see if you can use these words in context with the sentences. Babacar was looking for a new blend of cell phones that Apple was trying to make. Remember, Apple is not a fruit. Apple here is a company that makes iPhones or iPads. Gia asked T to make a blend of her native food for him. That is a bad person, so I decided to blame him, say Jasenia. Can you blame life without a cell phone? Kenneth used his blank to make a special dish of his native food for the class to eat. There's the insecticides warned Corina, you will die if you drink it. Having a car is a great blank for people who live in the United States because it can help them to move around. Blank up sleeping, Celia decided to wake up and clean her house. So see if you can use the words in context and filling in the blanks for these sentences. Pause for about 2 minutes and trying to do this work. So if you have inventions for number 1, then you are great. Number 2, dish. Remember, you make a dish. It's a noun. Number 3, you have the word to, so you need a verb. So you need to say to dish, mean to ignore or don't pay attention to that person. Can is a verb, so you need imagine. Number 5, his is an adjective, so you need a noun. So in this situation, you need imagination. There's poison, okay, because insecticides, we learned this already. Number 7, advantage. Number 8 is instead. Inbox me and tell me how many rights you have. Continue to use your words in everyday situation. If you don't use them, you will forget them. This is Dr. Nguyen.